All right, everybody, welcome back to Stinker, Drinker, Thinker. Another episode here tonight. We're going to talk about some of the best summertime whiskey cocktails since it's getting warm out. And everyone's probably sitting on their deck making drinks, hopefully, preferably with whiskey. So these are some cocktails that maybe can cool you down that you haven't heard before. But before we even get there, and the challenge that I'm going to issue on this episode.
Oh, boy.
I'm Anthony Longano, known around the world as Cocktail Doctor #1. I am joined by the pre-advanced master sommelier who can make some drinks too, Cocktail Doctor #2, Troy the Body Viglotti. Troy, say hello, please.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to find out, actually. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Say hello.
Oh, hello, fans.
Yeah. Hello, fans. Troy's OnlyFans is free now. I don't know if you saw it in the comments. Some guy on there is like, oh, my God, his OnlyFans is free. Anyway. And then we're joined by the rustic red, orange, burnt shirt guy. He's got a very nice voice, but it's high-pitched and annoying sometimes. Matt McKibble. Matt, say hello.
Hello, fan.
Kate, that's you. That's his wife. Yeah.
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, all right.
Say it, Matt. Say, wow.
Wow. What, you said Chandler. I can't do the.
Wow, Chandler.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so when the night gets dark and it's hot and you have boob sweat and you come home from a long day of work and you want to sit outside, but it's just too fucking hot. You go in your house, you grab some bourbon. It's too hot. Can't even put it on a cube. It's too hot. So what do? You take some shit, put it in a shaker, you shake it, you drink it with your wife and, maybe some friends.
Or your husband.
Or kids.
But that drink sucks. And you got boob sweat everywhere. Now you have crotch sweat. You have fire crotch. You have to go put baking soda on your balls. Who are you going to call? Troy, who are you going to call?
Who are you going to call? I have no idea. Who are you going to call?
The Cocktail Doctors, everybody. Every time I got to remind you, the Cocktail Doctors. The Cocktail Doctors. So I'm going to issue a challenge. So if you guys haven't noticed, we've done a couple episodes where we've had some fan submissions of some cocktails that maybe are original cocktails that you guys have created. And you could do that if you guys have some of those. You submit them through stinkerdrinkerthinker.com in the Cocktail Doctors section. Me and Troy will make the original cocktail that maybe you riffed on. We'll make your cocktail, and then we'll make a riff of our own that we hope is better than yours. And by far, so far and by far, we have not gotten anything that sucked as a user submission. So, I mean, please, if you have something you think sucks, submit it because that would be fun. But everyone who submitted cocktails so far, it's been fucking fantastic. And it's made it really hard for us. So, since it's getting warm out and we've been talking about making summertime whiskey cocktails on here for the longest time, and we haven't been able to line up the guests that we want for a little bit, and life's been busy for everybody, to do a shaken cocktail week, I thought, why don't we take 2 summertime whiskey cocktails, and tonight I'll make the originals, and we'll test them and we'll critique them and we'll see. One of them is my all-time favorite. One is something that Matt wanted to try. We'll get into that later. And then I'm going to challenge Troy on the next episode, maybe in a couple weeks, to make them better.
Oh.
Since he's, in the passenger seat and thinks he's the driver. This isn't Europe, but
I'm on the back seat.
You're in America.
I'm the kid in the back seat going, are we there yet?
What do you think, Troy? Think you can do that?
Yep.
Challenge accepted is what I heard.
Okay. So, I'm going to make the originals tonight, and these are original cocktails. These are not riffs for me, but I make them very well, and I know I make them very well. The one I haven't made, but it's super simple.
Sorry, so the original or the classic? Are they like...
I'm going to make the classic.
Okay. You're going to make the standard
cocktails tonight. And then I'm going to challenge Troy to elevate them.
For next episode.
For next episode. A future summertime whiskey cocktail episode. And then maybe when the fall rolls around, Troy can do 2 fall classic whiskey cocktails, and then I can, once again, put him in his chair, which is in the passenger seat.
I'm already excited.
With his seatbelt on and his thumb in his ass.
Shocker.
Do you accept the challenge,
We're all
Viglotti?
great friends here.
Yeah.
We all love each other so much.
Mr. Body, do you accept the challenge?
Yeah, I fucking accept.
Hey, brother, you accept this challenge, brother?
Yeah. Also, I highly encourage you to make these at home. We'll put the recipes in the episode notes. Couple of things you'll need. If you're a newer home bartender, you should have this stuff anyway, but most of the people we know anyway who either didn't make drinks when they first started listening to us now have appropriate barware, or have people who have been making drinks and become good friends of ours, who I know have good barware. But a couple things you need for these drinks tonight. You'll need fresh squeezed fruit. Make sure you have oranges and lemons on hand. You'll need homemade Demerara syrup. I like to use a rich Demerara, which is 2 parts Demerara sugar and 1 part water. Simmer that down, let it cool, and you store it. You will need honey syrup, which is equal parts honey and water. Same thing. You will need fresh squeezed lemon juice. You will need bourbon. And you will also need a higher proof bourbon. We'll get to that in a second. So for the first cocktail, this is one of my all-time summer drinkers. When I think of summer whiskey cocktails, if there's people, it's like bourbon lemonade. It's called the Gold Rush. I've been wanting to make it on here for a while. The weather's perfect for it. I made some this weekend. We had some friends over for my daughter's birthday. And I'm going on vacation next week to New Jersey. And I'm probably going to make 1 million of them for everyone because that's the family favorite. So it's so simple. It's essentially a whiskey sour with honey syrup.
Oh, okay.
That's literally all it essentially is. No egg white type of deal. But the things you'll need from a barware perspective, I would recommend buying bitter dashers or an atomizer. We could talk about that later. But you do need a shaker. You need a jigger, and you need coupe glasses and rocks glasses. That's all you'll need to make these along with us. But for the Gold Rush in particular, just a rocks glass and the shaker. So
Get at it.
I'm gonna go do it.
Cocktail break. And welcome back from Cocktail Break. This Cocktail Break is brought to you by a joke. Who wants?
I prefer puns.
You know what, Troy? Just for that. Hey, Anthony. What did the egg say to the pot of boiling water?
Fuck you, water.
It might take me a minute to get hard. I just got laid by some chick. Really?
I mean, I get it.
Oh.
That's
a funny one.
Yeah.
Might take me a minute to get hard. I just got laid by some chick. That's really funny.
Who is that?
Brent. Brent Luthold, I loved your joke. I still think it's funny.
Stick to reviewing movies, dude.
I thought it was great. I thought it was going to get you. All right. Zero for 3.
So this is my.
It's just I'm a pun person. I think that's what's
right.
gonna get me.
Send your try puns. Everybody listening, all fan out there.
Yeah,
send in some puns.
I'm Stonewall. Like
it's hard when you're trying not to laugh.
I'm not, and I'm not like.
Andy's already drinking his cocktail. All right. Gold Rush. What's do you know the history of it or anything? Like what the?
I don't know. I know my history with it. It's gonna be gone. I have a problem with these.
The Gold Rush?
Yeah, from just about June to middle of September. I probably crush about 500 million of these a year. It's a very crushable drink. I refer to it as bourbon lemonade with a hint of honey. So, yeah. My recipe for it is a little different than like what a normal, typical whiskey sour recipe would be. So I do 3/4 ounce fresh squeezed lemon juice that I strain into the shaker. I do 3/4 ounce homemade honey syrup, 2 ounces of Elijah Craig, shaken over a large cube, and I garnish with an expressed orange peel.
It's orange?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like lemon.
Balances it out.
That's crazy.
It seemed like it gained a ton of popularity in Milk and Honey in the 2000s, or like early mid 2000s.
Who's surprised by that?
Yeah,
not me.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, if you're making these at home, when you initially pour them after they shake, the lemon will be almost too sour. They have to sit for a second. That's the one thing I've always noticed about them. But they're fantastic.
This is too good.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Like, I'm just like taking another sip. I'm like, ooh, I want another sip. Ooh, another sip.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm already halfway gone.
Oh,
it's gone.
The other thing is it's a bee's knees with whiskey, by the way, if that means anything to you.
Bee's knees
Mr.
does mean something to me
McKibble.
because I made one time for you.
Yeah.
I love for What is Bee's knees? What's the main
Gin.
spirit? Gin. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say more so because your wife Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because we had the extra honey syrup from episode, and we wanted to make something. That's what you told me to make.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting.
You guys better hurry up and drink.
I'm already halfway done, man.
I'll be asleep.
Well, I haven't tasted yet.
What else is new?
I like the orange.
What kind of whiskey did you use?
I used Elijah Craig small batch.
Excellent.
Actually, funny enough, I've tried a couple different things in here. Basil Hayden's dark rye is fantastic in Gold Rushes.
Have you tried, in general, the Caribbean rye?
Yeah, I had a bottle of it.
The blue one?
Yeah, I had a bottle
What'd
of
you
it
think?
one time. It's before. I mean, I found it on the shelves like 5 years ago, and I didn't know what I was buying.
Because it keeps on, like, people keep on talking about it. I'm like, I haven't seen that a long
I've
time
heard.
ago.
I remember it was gone.
Yeah.
But I strictly made drinks with it.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, this is just, it's super, like the frostiness of it. It's very compelling.
I'm compelled.
I also really like, so you said it's orange expressed?
It is Orange Express instead of
I
lemon.
think a lemon
balances it out.
A lemon would be way too much.
Yeah, it balances it out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't know if that's a traditional way, but that's the way I make them here for millions and millions
And millions
of the Rocks fans.
of Gold Rush fans.
Yeah.
The Goldberg Gold Rush. I'm going to spear this into my mouth.
So, Troy, part of this challenge is, because this is an educational thing that we do with the cocktail doctors, and this doesn't have to be, you don't have to make any decisions, and you don't even have to make it this way when you do it in a few weeks, but if there was one thing, or if there were some things that you could do to a Gold Rush to elevate it, to make it into a different cocktail, what would you do?
All right, I'm gonna answer this in two parts. The first part is the fact that I already did this in the cocktail competition. I did it with the duck fat washed blue corn whiskey.
Oh,
Baby
the in the cocktail competition that you lost because of that cocktail. Okay, just want to make sure.
Again,
We're not competitive here.
I'm not. No, genuinely, honestly, like for me, that was something that I wanted to do to enhance the whiskey. And I didn't even know what kind of whiskey I wanted to use, but I thought something textural would give it some elevation for sure. Honey is definitely ideal. I think at the time it was winter, and I think I wanted to try something with maple syrup. I infused it with thyme. I feel like fresh thyme infused with even the honey syrup would be incredible.
Stay tuned for a whole fucking farm of fresh thyme in my cocktail.
I think herbal. No. I think herbal.
I agree though. I could see that.
I'm thinking like herbal or berry or like some sort of like cranberry or something like that would be nice. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, herbal is one thing. Cranberry.
I'm thinking of the different options. Like
Yeah.
herbal, like you said, honestly, like rosemary, thyme. I think that would work pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think like even a cranberry. I think you mentioned something you do differently, like a vermouth or something.
Yeah. So I think I've talked about this on here. There's a cocktail called a New York Sour, which is a whiskey sour where they do a red wine float on it. I haven't tried it on this one, and I wanted to try it tonight. But I've made that with a vermouth float, a sweet vermouth float
Okay.
instead, and I absolutely fucking love it.
I think that'd be
And
nice.
I use a Demerara in that as well instead of simple or whatever.
Because that's what I'm thinking, like cranberry. I'm thinking like a nice, like low mid, kind of just like
It just kind of floats and you drink through the vermouth.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
That might be
cool.
nice. Sorry, Troy. Point number 2.
Well, point number 1 was just the fact that I
You've already done
made
it.
this attempt before, in a different season, so it'll be different. Point number 2 is that, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd have to think about it, and I will think about it, but it's very. I mean, it's one of those. I don't want to do an injustice to the cocktail because it's just bourbon, lemon, and honey, and at the end of the day, like one of my all-time favorite drinks is a hot toddy, which is basically like the hot version of this.
Yeah.
And I just can't get enough of honey and lemon and whiskey in my life.
It's my favorite things. Me and Troy watch a lot of football together, and Troy will come over here on Sunday, and we'll either be hungover or sick. And the first thing we'll have is a hot toddy or an Irish coffee in the morning. It's great. And I can't wait to fucking September. I was going to say something. So as simple as this drink is, for newer cocktail makers out there, there's plenty of ways you could fuck this up. Something so simple. And technique is huge. Technique is absolutely huge with this. Obviously, we always preach on here using fresh juices, right? Using them properly, I would stress even more. If you put pulpy lemon juice into this, it texturally it would not hit as smooth and as hot toddy like and as like cold bourbon lemonade iced tea. It's like an Arnold Palmer in a glass,
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you have a fine mesh strainer, I would, after you juice your lemon, I would pour it into the shaker. I do pour it into the shaker with that. Obviously, measuring properly is huge too. So make sure it's in, especially with lemon. I feel like if you overpour or underpour, it can fuck up the balance of the drink, even by like this much. Just like make sure it's 3/4 ounce that. The honey syrup too, you can overcook honey syrup. And you should absolutely make honey syrup yourself. It literally takes fucking 5 minutes. It takes longer to cool than it does to make. And it's just equal parts honey and water and in a pot. And you, as soon as it starts to get to a simmer, you just kind of slowly keep stirring it until it's won. It's not as thick or viscous as you might think. It is pretty thin, but it tastes like water honey. It's great. Like it's almost got the viscosity of water.
Do you use like local honey, or do you use like the bear honey, or?
I use local honey.
Okay.
Always. And that's just for my allergies, honestly. Like,
for sure.
I always try to find a good high grade honey. All that shit matters when it comes to drink. It's same thing if you guys cook at home. Like, you only use wine that you would drink when you cook. Like same thing with honey. You're making a cocktail. Like, honestly, if you have bullshit artificial corn syrup honey around, I mean that's a problem to talk about with your nutritionalist to begin with. But sorry, that was a mean joke. I don't care. But yeah, just use good ingredients. Obviously, there's plenty of replacements of bourbon, and I'm sure we could experiment night and day with bourbon. But
I like the Elijah Craig.
I mean, it's just the easiest thing to make cocktails with because it always sticks. But I did have, if someone has gifted you a bottle of Basil Hayden's, the dark rye for some reason always really worked out well. It added a certain boldness with this. Shaking technique, we've talked about this a bunch on here. 3/4 of the way with the shaker and only for 5 to 6 seconds. I overshook mine.
3/4 of the way with ice.
With ice.
Okay.
And I overshook mine on purpose to prove to myself that 7 seconds was too long, and I had shards of ice at the top of my drink. So, 5 seconds. All of yours were shaken with 5 seconds. Did you have any shards?
No, but it was nice and frosty.
Yeah.
I said this is the first time ever in this podcast history I finished my drink first.
Yep. It's the ultimate. It is the ultimate.
I've never finished my
cocktail
before this.
It is the ultimate summer whiskey cocktail.
I've been done for like a minute.
That is a testament.
But and I'm sure there's riffs on it. Like Troy said, this is bee's knees with gin or with bourbon. I've always thought about elevating this cocktail. That's why I brought it to you. I brought it to the cocktail doctor.
I think that we've mentioned the ultimate drinker. We've mentioned that a lot. I think this might be.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
How much whiskey is in the? How many ounces?
It's 3/4 ounce honey syrup, 3/4 ounce lemon juice, 2 ounces of bourbon. Does not taste like bourbon.
2 ounces of bourbon, and I don't like. It's just enough to be noticeable, but
yeah,
damn.
It's a 3-sip drink too. If you got your cape on, it's a 3-sip drink. If you're trying to be the hero that day, quick story. My daughter turned 7 on July 4th, and we had a birthday party for her at the house this last week. And she's in competitive dance. I think I've mentioned that before. So all the dance moms were over, and a couple of the dance dads came over. And honestly, the dance dads, we don't really hang out that much. So I figured it would be a good opportunity. So everyone walks in, and I'm like, hey, there's the adult cooler. There's the kids cooler. You decide. And I was like, no judgment. No judgment. I packed it with good beer, and you were gone. You didn't get here. The good beer was gone by the time you got here, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. So, this guy who I became very good friends with, his daughter's name is Anna. Her and my daughter Brooklyn are very good friends. He walks in, and he went golfing that morning. And I'm pretty sure at this point I was almost just could tell that maybe he was had some beers on the course. So I said the same thing to him. I was like, hey, there's the adult cooler. There's the kids cooler. And this party's been going on for 45 minutes and don't even touch the adult cooler. No one wants to break the ice on the adult cooler. He walks right up to the fucking cooler, whips out 2 Oberons and starts, going at it. Yeah. So then the other dance dad did it, and the other dance dad did it. And I was like, you know what? And then my wife, of all people, started drinking at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My wife probably drinks twice a year. And she drank more in a 4-hour period that day than she drank in the last 3 years since we've been to Ireland.
I can't remember the last time I saw her drink a beer.
Well, she drank 4 of them.
Yeah, that's.
And then I made her 6 cocktails. So speaking of cocktails, that's where this comes in. So finally, Mal's like, to all the dance moms, like, Anthony makes great cocktails. Like, tell him what you want, and he'll make something better. And I was
that's
like,
impressive.
I was like, wow, my wife's talking me up for once. Look at that. Because my wife, if I make her something, she fucking hates it. I can't make anything right for her. And I'm a good cook. I can't make her food. She can't eat it. It sucks. All of it. to her. I can't make her a drink. It's always wrong. Troy, can you attest to that?
It can, yeah.
Yeah, and like everyone else was like, whoa, this is the best fucking Italian food ever. Whoa, this is the best old fashioned ever. Mal's like, this fucking blows. Like, it's bad every time. And I literally just like want to take the glass, break it into my face, and gouge out my eyes.
But she does know that you're good at it.
Apparently. So then I started making all of her friends drinks, and then, you know, the dads had 4 or 5, and I was like, all right, it's Gold Rush time. Like, I had it all prepped. I was ready to go. I made honey syrup. I was ready to go. So I brought out a Gold Rush, and I put one on the table. I made it for another one of the dads, and then he's like, oh, my God, and he starts handing it around to all the other dads. So then I went and made one more.
That's where we need the slobber knocker.
Right, the slobber knocker button.
Oh,
Yeah.
the slobber knocker.
really-
Oh, my God. I swear by God himself, what a slobber knocker. He's dead. He's dead in the ring. Anyway, so
We can never get away from wrestling, no matter how far we go.
yeah. Isn't
So
it? Yeah.
bad.
Anyway, so I go and get this other one, and I put it on the table, and Tommy takes a sip, I take a sip, and Byron takes a sip, and it's gone. So that just proves 3 sips on a 4-ounce drink. Well, 3 1/4 ounce drink.
Sure.
Gone. These are dangerous, folks.
Yeah.
They're dangerous, but they're tasty. So if you got nothing to do that day,
Yeah, I feel it.
yeah.
Do you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
Do you smell it?
Smell it?
Smell what
The rock is
smell what
cooking.
my cock is
Do you
cooking?
smell what this whiskey rock is cooking?
Oh my!
That's a joke.
I know.
That could be expanded upon.
It could.
We'll work on that.
Oh, that's kind of good. And the other thing I like about these two, last thing, we'll move on. They get better with every sip. Anyway.
I will say there are ways to elevate it, but anything extra that you add to it ends up becoming very subjective to the drinker.
That's
so
fair.
it's like if you like whatever has been added, then maybe you'll love it more than the original. But if you don't, you might hate it.
It's a very
but nobody will hate the original.
Well, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
this could get someone who despises bourbon into whiskey. I literally
for
did that this
sure.
weekend.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Another one of our friends who hates whiskey, Joy, she had a sip of this, and she had me make her one, and she hates whiskey. So it's one of those types of drinks, guys. On that side of things, though, Troy, your point is extremely valid, but for the people who are probably watching and listening to this, they're probably used to the elevation, want the elevation,
Yeah.
and have different palates.
Right.
So
This might be boring in some regards.
this is a boring drink.
Yeah. Not in a bad way, but
not
yeah.
in a bad way.
Yeah.
It's a summer slammer, dude. It's a summer slam. Like you're going. It's a pay per view.
The Rock is at SummerSlam.
Yeah. And he is the king of the ring. Anyway, so
SummerSlam and King of the Ring at the
same time. Yeah, it's a double hitter. Oh my God. No, anyway,
That's the elevation we need.
Yeah.
Troy, this is Summerslam. We need to bring King of the Ring at SummerSlam.
Troy, will you be the king of the ring? Anyway,
Cage match.
so yeah, moving on.
Undertaker's here.
I
All
mean,
right,
I think it's pretty straightforward. This is a drinker.
yeah,
correct?
absolutely. This is like I said before. Ultimate Drinker gets thrown around a lot here. This to me is the most drinkery drinker I think I've had since.
This is the best cocktail you've had on the podcast.
No, this is the best cocktail. It's the most drinker cocktail I've had on the podcast. Next to the Irish Maid.
The Irish Maid was delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about that.
That's another
cocktail.
summer slammer too,
Damn.
kind of. I would also say, Troy,
Yeah.
when you do elevate this, I would, and I know this is hard, and I know this goes against everything we literally just talked about, but try to keep the integrity of the crushability and the drinkability in that drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the main point of this.
Yeah.
Being as simple as it is, I would try to challenge you to do it in five ingredients or more.
Or
More or less.
And that's not a competition.
No, 4 or 5 or more or 5 or
Five
less.
or more. This is a 3 ingredient.
So you want her
drink.
to add? You wanted him to add?
I want
2
her
ingredients
to
and
add.
also
I want her to add
add 2 ingredients, but still make it as drinkable as this is.
or more.
Wow. Okay.
Who's her?
You.
I said her by accident. He's going with it.
Okay.
Who's her? Liquor. Barely know her.
It's done. So anyway, Troy's dying. All right. Before we go
Shirts
too
are
deep,
available on our shop. Spend $30 or more, and we'll give you whiskey.
before we go too deep into
Not
this,
or less.
or
Or
less,
more.
or more. Well, all right. What do we got next?
Well, so when we talked about doing Summer Slammer whiskey cocktails, Matt sent me a message about it's kind of like a tiki cocktail, honestly, which I'm super pumped about.
It's based on a tiki cocktail kind of, but it's called a Halekulani
Yeah, Halekulani.
from Hawaii.
And I'm super pumped to make it. and we're gonna maybe do it a little bit more elevated than what you would see your normal like resort bartender do. But essentially, another shake and drink. Summertime vibes, lots of citrus. It is lime juice, orange juice, pineapple juice. And the one thing you'll learn about pineapple juice in cocktails, and argue with me, DM me, I don't care. The one thing you learn about pineapple juice, and Matt, we were watching this a video of a guy making this earlier, and I've already seen videos of this. 95% of the cocktails that you have that have pineapple juice are either in a shitty little can or from the jar or can of chunks of pineapple. Right.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I just got 100% pineapple juice in a bottle from Costco. I'm going to shake it and I'm going to use it. It's fresh. I cracked it a couple days ago.
Because almost every classic cocktail that calls for pineapple juice, that's how pineapple juice came. And no one's ever making fresh pineapple juice for the most part.
Agreed. I do think that the Dole stuff is better.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that is what when people call for pineapple juice in a cocktail, like 95% of the time they're calling for Dole pineapple juice.
The fanciest restaurant I've ever worked in, and the best bar programs were using canned Dole's pineapple.
And I've tried to juice a pineapple before, and it makes a ton of sense because it's kind of a pain in the ass. You don't get as much juice as you would imagine from a chunk of pineapple. But anyway, as much as we stress using fresh juice on here, I just wanted to point that out.
That is the one exception.
So lime juice, orange juice, pineapple juice, demerara syrup, which I explained at the top. And then we're going to use barrel-proof bourbon. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. The recipes that we looked into, some said like Booker's, which is usually coming in hot, 64%, some of the bottles I have over there. And then we're Noah's Mill, which is made by Willett, is what we're going to use tonight. And I think that bottle that I have is 58 or 59% too, or close to it. Yeah. It's absolutely delicious, by the way, too. If you want cheaper Willett, it's and they label it as a bourbon, but it really is distinctively similar.
I think it's really high rye bourbon.
I mean, it's very distinct. It's distinctively similar to Willett Family Estate rye and that flavor profile. I dig it. Shaken, strained into a chilled coupe with some Ango bitters, and we'll talk about what I'm going to do with the Ango bitters once we get down here. You can garnish it with pineapple fronds. I don't have any of those, so I'll make something up.
He garnishes it with a can of the pineapple.
It's just a whole can of old pineapple.
Just the empty can on top of a glass. Really funny.
Wait, no, Matt, you said you made this at home or no?
No, I funny enough, actually, my brother said, "Hey, if you guys are doing a tiki night, can you include this? Because I just made one. It sounds awesome."
Yeah. Okay.
And then I looked up the cocktail, and I was like, I saw a video, and I was like, that sounds really good.
It's everything I want in a tiki cocktail, first and foremost.
I've never tried
but like I can't imagine, especially with like overproof whiskey is the way they would label it. And it's probably a riff on some sort of cocktail that uses overproof rum. And if you guys don't fuck around with overproof rum, especially this time of year, do it, dude. We should do an overproof rum cocktail episode.
If we do one in September, my brother will be here, perhaps.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
He's super into overproof rum.
That would be really cool. Yeah. Plantation Overproof makes a ridiculous Manhattan and a ridiculous Old Fashioned. And I even did a Sazerac riff on it one time, and it was fucking fantastic. Right. Anyway, so I'll get to it.
Get to it. Cocktail break. And welcome back from cocktail break. This cocktail break is brought to you by a pun, Troy. Are you happy about that?
A pun, Troy.
A pun, Troy.
Troy. I get to punch Troy.
It's a pun, Troy.
Oh,
Troy. It's hard to explain puns to a kleptomaniac because they take things literally.
Yep.
There you go. On to the cocktail. You wanted a pun. That's what you got. All right.
I'm happy with it.
All right. Good.
This is the Halekulani. It is and any good bartender will taste while they're making stuff. If you've been looking for a bourbon tiki cocktail, I think I found it for you. I'm very curious to see what Troy's going to do to this. I'm sure it involves pureed almond juice and stuff like that. But
I saw you doing something at the end there.
Yeah, we'll get to there.
Yeah, very excited.
So essentially, the recipe I did. And again, going back, the pineapple juice is not fresh strained or fresh squeezed, but fresh squeezed lime juice and orange juice. It's a half ounce of those, a half ounce of pineapple juice, a quarter ounce of demerara syrup. And again, I usually make a rich demerara, so it's 2 to 1. So 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water. You can cook that the same way I told you about the honey syrup. Don't overcook it. Just make sure everything's dissolved. That's going to be thick and viscous, kind of more like a syrup. While I was tasting it up there, I was like, man, I could put this on some like a short stack. It's delicious. And with that, you can over pour that in the jigger by maybe 1/10 of an ounce, because it's going to come out so thick that some of it's going to get stuck. So if you want to hit your proper ratio for a 1/4 ounce, maybe pour it a little bit more. And then I used an 1.5 ounces of overproof bourbon. So we used the Noah's Mill, which I checked while I was up there. It's 58. And then shaken, poured into a chilled coupe. And then what I did is I took some Angostura bitters. I put them in an atomizer, which is like a little spray bottle. I lit a torch and I sprayed the bitters over top of the coupe glass. And it kind of added this nice like caramelized bitter char on the top of the drink. It changed the color of it. It's a really cool effect. You can use a pineapple like stem garnish, I think is what it was. Yeah. I didn't have any of those, so into the mouth it goes.
I would love to try this with the atomized vermouth versus the regular.
You keep saying vermouth. Bitters.
Bitters, sorry. Yeah. It's stuck in my head. For the bitters. Oh, man. Because it's so, you get that burnt caramel note. So heavy, it's so good.
I'm going to make these all week on vacation.
It's really good.
The fuck?
It's very tiki and bitter, but like so sweet at the same time.
It's that flame-throwed bitter is what we'll call that technique. Flame-throwing bitters.
Have you ever done that before?
You're drinking. No, I've never done that. I mean, I've definitely torched and atomized, set shit on fire, chartreuse and absinthe and stuff like that. But 151 rum, like a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, when Game of Thrones was out, we made this drink called Wildfire. Every night when we watched Game of Thrones Season 8, we made Game of Thrones themed cocktails. And I made this drink called the Wildfire that used, man, I'm missing the name. Troy, what's the green melon stuff called?
Midori.
Yeah, Midori. And you set Midori on fire on top of a drink, and it looks like wildfire. It's
That's cool.
It's kind of sick. Yeah. But anyway, but like drinking through that, you get like, if you ever taste Ango bitters by themselves, you'll know what I mean. But it's just kind of like this toasted marshmallow Angostura.
This is really interesting.
You're drinking this sweet bourbony drink through it. I mean, it's 3 types of juices and a rich, thick syrup with bourbon. And you're drinking through this like bitter, charred, marshmallowy thing. It's absolutely fantastic.
It turns a drinker into a drinker thinker, I think, in my personal opinion. That adds enough element where it's super interesting.
It's too crushable for me to even think about it. It's gone.
No, that bitter toastiness.
Yep.
That like almost just burnt marshmallow, the outer crust of a marshmallow. That's thinker territory for me.
Yep. So you'll see this. I'm probably going to go... while I'm making this for my family next week, probably going to post a couple videos of this, and obviously we'll have to do some content for the episode release. Another thing I was thinking about, and I might as well ask you live on air. I have a lot of drinkers in my family. Not all of them are educated on whiskey to some extent, but I was thinking about maybe taking some of the people who aren't necessarily into whiskey but are into cocktails and doing a tasting with them.
Oh, sure.
Like a flight of whiskeys with them and posting a video of it.
That'd be awesome.
While I was out there. I'm thinking of my Aunt Kim.
I love like a rating,
Ashley.
like their rating was actually thought about them and like their actual rating of those particular whiskeys with either hating whiskey or not knowing about it, or that'd be cool.
And I would pick some pretty designated pours. For them. But I think that'd be good for us to do. This is going to be the drink of the week, though. I think everyone's going to fucking love this, even people who don't like whiskey. If you're into tiki cocktails and you don't like whiskey, first of all, if you're here, you probably do like whiskey. If you've been searching for one, this is fucking fantastic.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, too. I can't say I've ever had a cocktail like this.
The pineapple juice kind of pops out of it. I think the lime makes it bite a little bit more. The lime kind of enhances it over the orange juice. The orange juice has got like this subtle, orange juice doesn't have enough acid to cut.
It kind of rounds it out.
But you can get like the shell
of an orange.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's literally like that kind of like mouthfeel that you'll get from like sucking on an orange or something. It's there. The bourbon is non-existent. But I will tell you that this bourbon in particular, if you've ever had Noah's Mill by itself, it does have that classic Willet vibe to it. And I think that is
more herbal, right? It's kind of what that you were saying about that.
Well, I mean, the thing is like
what is the classic Willet?
It's hard to explain because I always thought it was just a rye forward thing, but it's the first word that comes to mind is like this marbled whiskey. It's got like like if you looked at like a good cut of beef and it's got these fat pockets in it, and your mouth waters. That's what I think of when I think of Willet. And I know you don't. I don't.
It's the Wagyu.
Yeah, well, and I'm not talking about Willet pot still
Sure.
bourbon because that shit sucked, especially since they changed their mash bill. Pro tip: if you're in a store and you see a Willet bottle that's got a barcode that is in gold, it's the newer mash bill and it's getting terrible ratings. And I have 2 of those. If you see one that has the old white bar code on it, like the actual like scan code on it, the UPC code.
Interesting.
That is where they got their name. They changed the mash bill about 2 years ago. With the Family Estate Rye, that's where that classic Willet taste come from. I've never had any other of their like purple label bourbons or anything like that.
Top, man.
Me and Troy actually just booked a tour at Willet for when we go to the Bar Sound
and you tasting
Bourbon
all the
Festival.
purple tops and
So
stuff.
and I can't wait for that. We paid the top dollar tour, so I'm hoping we get some of that and we got some time to sit at the bar and do that. So anyway, the Noah's Mill kind of has that classic Family Estate type of characteristic to it, that bold kind of, and I always thought it was kind of a rye like spearmint type of thing, but it's obviously, I mean, this is a bourbon, right? Mm-hmm. This is not a rye, so I think it makes the drink. And I've seen people do it with Booker's, and I'd be curious because Booker's is a totally different character, like class, like a totally different category of bourbon. It's more of an earthy, dirt, peanutty type of deal. So. Troy, what are your feelings?
Where did you get the recipe from? Because I was looking at a different recipe.
This is from How to Drink.
I was looking at the one on DeFord's website, I guess it was.
Okay.
There's some
which
good recipes
actually
on there.
they call for rye. And you said that there was lime in this as well?
Yep.
This one, the one that I was looking at, doesn't have any lime. It just has lemon and orange and pineapple.
So it's lemon instead of lime.
Lemon and rye and lime and bourbon.
Okay.
That's the difference.
That seems to be a common.
This one has no lemon.
This is lime and bourbon. The other one has lemon and rye.
Does it also have orange?
Yes.
Okay.
That seems to be a constant thing. At least a trend. It's like when you have rye, typically you go lime. When you have bourbon, you go lemon. Is that weird, or am I just making
But
this
this
up?
drink is not rye.
But I mean,
This one's not.
I think it's a high rye bourbon. I don't know. I
which-
don't know what
which,
the
yeah.
mash bill is. I know as
Could
mill
very
is,
well be.
but I mean, it tastes like Willet rye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. And I honestly, I think that rye, kind of like that spearmint round off of the drink. And it's not spearmint heavy for all you people who are like Matt and are scared of the spearmint rye thing. But I think it's extremely well balanced. You can get every single ingredient in here. The Demerara is there kind of on the finish. I get it, like just sitting in the
sweetness,
mid palate, just kind of
sorry.
suckling on the tongue.
What did
But-
you say exactly you did to the bitters?
So I put the Angostura bitters in an atomizer.
Yeah, that I saw.
And then I lit a torch,
Okay.
maybe about 6 inches above the drink, and I sprayed the bitters through the fire, and it charred
Right through it.
Yeah, and it caught on fire obviously when I did that, and it charred the top of
Yeah.
the drink, and it called for 2 dashes of bitters. I atomized 4 sprays over each.
Okay, so it's a little bit of heavy.
Because Angostura is 44.7% alcohol.
I mean, it caught fire.
Yeah.
No, I know. That's probably why.
Yeah.
It's not.
Interesting.
It's not like some weak shit.
Yeah.
So that's a great question, actually, Troy. What is that a high proof bitter comparatively, or?
Well, it's the highest that I've seen. I also think that they seem to highlight it in like larger font than any other bottle of bitters that I've ever seen. I don't think it's really advertised on most other bitters that I can think of. I've also had like a handful of non-alcoholic bitters, which, you know how we feel about that. No, I'm just kidding. But, I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know.
I mean, I know how I feel about this. Adios.
What's your rating?
It's gone.
What's your rating?
Gone.
My rating or who? Anthony?
Both yours.
My rating is that it's a drinker thinker.
Okay.
Hardly a thinker, but
Just enough.
Just enough.
Yeah, I mean, I can pick out every ingredient. I made it, so maybe that's a little different. This is a fucking hardcore drinker.
More than a Gold Rush or less?
Let's hear your rating. That was my question.
Oh, I'm going drinker thinker as well. Honestly, it's because of the atomized. burnt
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
bitters.
it could be more than that.
Well, I would like to try this without that, with that kind of extra burnt note.
I kind of think it makes the drink.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to try it without it because I wonder if that would genuinely change the.
So
rating or not.
here, when you compare it against the Gold Rush, I think the question I would have to ask myself is, am I making these or is someone making these for me? Because if it's me sitting on the porch, hanging out on vacation, family's over, friends are over, making drinks for people, I know that I can make 15 of those fucking drinks in 22 minutes, and I can have 4 of them in that time, and it's easy. This drink takes more time.
Right.
But I mean, if either were handed to me on the day that I just described to you, on a relaxing summer day, where we're hanging out with people and we're day drinking, either would be top notch, 100% drinkers. I can't tell. I would say that I guess I have to say this because 95% of the time I'm the one doing it. I think the Gold Rush would win, but I maybe by like the smallest amount.
There's a complexity here that does not exist with Gold Rush.
Honestly, I think that complexity can be a huge introductory into upscale cocktails for people who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
This feels like an upscale cocktail.
Yeah, it does.
The Gold Rush feels like a very drinkable cocktail that I would enjoy. This feels like I went to a bar and paid top dollar and got something interesting.
Yeah, I would pay $5 for a Gold Rush. I'd pay $12 for this any day of the week. Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
You wouldn't pay more than $5 for a Gold Rush?
No, because I can make it with my asshole. I literally.
That's more of an $8 versus $12 to me.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the place, if they're growing the fucking lemons in the hydroponic center behind the house or whatever, like.
Yeah. What if Death & Co. is like, I want to make you a Gold Rush?
Okay, make me one, and then I'll tell you if it's worth $8. like, what's so different about their honeys? Do they have bees in their refrigerator? Like, what's the difference?
Hey, dude, you should get all your wasps and everything and see if you can make some honey there.
You can't make honey with wasps.
I know, I'm just joking.
Yeah, you make dirt. They make dirt.
That's true.
And they gouge out your eyeballs. Apparently.
Apparently. So, yeah, this is like I said, this is just more complex, more interesting. But yeah, summer drinker, they both are absolutely. They're absolutely both summer slammers.
And that's the thing I think about tiki cocktails that is so intriguing, is they're always 4 to 5 parts. Mm-hmm. They're always complex to make. They're a work. They're like it's gonna make you work to make it, but they're always so satisfying and they're all so drinkable. Like all of them. The fact that you can take that many ingredients and do that is something. Troy, now that you've had this cocktail, if you, as a cocktail doctor, when you come back here in a few weeks, if there's a couple things just off the tip of your head that you think that you would change, what would you do?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's gonna be an exploratory. Like I feel like you're gonna have to sit down.
There's nothing off the top of my head.
Sure,
nothing that hits me right away.
Yeah,
at all.
This is gonna be a tough one, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, doesn't have to be better. All it's got to be is a riff. That's what we do with the cocktail doctor things. And if you guys are interested in that, you've obviously, if you followed along, you've seen a couple episodes. Those are user submitted cocktails. We haven't had any stinkers yet. But if you go to stinkerdrinkerthinker.com and you submit through the cocktail doctor link there, a cocktail that maybe you've been riffing on or working on, we'll take it. We'll make the original. We'll make yours, and then me and Troy will come together and we'll make a riff on it and see if we can help you out.
And I'll drink it.
And Matt will drink it. And honestly, Matt has a good 2 cents on that stuff, even though he's not really great at making it. He doesn't have the experience with actually shaking and stirring. But
I want to be like is it not an intern? What's it called when you're when you're training to be a medical doctor? You're on rounds or you're on like
why are you looking at me?
I don't know. What is it called? Kate, if you're out there, let me know. It's like when you're in school, but you're actually working in a hospital.
Oh, the problem is I surely know this term, but
I know. I've watched a lot of Scrubs. I should know this.
I know exactly what it is. Residency.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm in a residency right now. And honestly, I have been very intrigued by cocktails.
I mean, you've submitted this one, man, and it was a great find. So I really appreciate that. I think you got it from your brother. Was it Jamie who submitted it? Yeah. So thank you, Jamie, for that. This is another great entry by him.
Yep.
Hang on, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
This is very off topic. Matt, what is your middle name?
Ooh. All right, I'm gonna you have to guess.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Kaiser. Are you MMM?
Yes, I'm MMM. If you will.
Okay.
It's a family name, so nothing you'll probably guess.
No Malachi.
I wish. You don't have any guesses.
How many syllables?
6 letters, 2 syllables.
I was gonna say counting the syllables. Maxwell.
No.
Those are it's 7 letters, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is.
God damn it.
Unless you're like from Europe and you only
It's
use one
similar
L.
to another. You're never gonna guess it. I mean, just be frank. But you maybe.
No, I'm gonna be Troy.
Hey, Frank!
Hey.
What I told you, Frank? Don't fuck with me!
Oh boy, it is. You wanna know? I'll give you a letter at a time. M. A. R.
Is it Matt McKibble? Matthew
Marshall?
McKibble.
D.
Mard?
E.
Marty?
N.
Martin.
Martin. There you go.
I don't think I've ever heard that name.
C.
It's a family name.
Not C, but
That's what I said. You're never gonna guess it, but
Wow, okay. Well, I
Matthew.
mean, who is the family
No,
member?
it's Matt. Fuck.
Matt Martin McKibble.
yeah, legally named Matt. No Matthew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Martin. Family name. Mom's
Okay.
side.
Mom's was it
Sorry,
your grandpa? or-
somebody told me that you had a unique middle name.
Yeah.
And I've been meaning to ask that
Who said
on the
Chris-
podcast
Chris?
for like
Yeah, it
10
has to be
episodes.
Chris.
Who said it?
It has
It's
to
I
gotta
think
be
it might
Chris,
have been
right?
Chris.
Yeah, that
Yeah, it
makes
has
sense.
to be.
All right.
Yeah.
So your great grandfather or your grandfather?
Grandmother.
Grandmother.
Yeah. It's a family name.
I'm trying not to laugh because it's a family name, but your middle name is your grandma's name.
Well, not no. Okay.
Sorry.
Not the grandmother's name. We won't go to. It's a yeah. Anyway, we won't go there.
It's
Okay.
a pretty
I'm
common
sorry.
thing for middle
I don't
names.
mean to be disrespecting your
No,
family.
no, it's fine. No,
Just,
it's
I
fine.
wanted-
Mom's side family name. We won't-
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, no disrespect.
You disrespected my family. Hey.
Hey, so to wrap things up, we're still doing this thing where if you spend $30 in our shop on Instagram, we're going to throw in a free 50 milliliter bottle of something. Last week we gave away the Bardstown Distill It to Bottle gift set, I guess it is, to one lucky
Distillate.
person. Distill it. Distill it.
Distill it.
Backer! No, sorry. Speaking of liquor, barely know her. We got shirts on the website that say that. If you guys even think that's funny, at least me and Troy do. Matt kind of shakes his head a bunch. The
Yeah.
official
We may be in the
podcast tea's
minority.
available. We got Glen Cairns available. Spend your money with us, and we'll send you some free alcohol. We really appreciate you. Submit your jokes if you want to win some whiskey
And
here.
puns for
Puns.
the love of God.
Puns.
Yeah, submit
Puns
puns.
would be great.
Submit your cocktail doctor recipes, and then follow along on Instagram if you haven't already, because there's a new giveaway this week where we're giving away a how many was that? It's a 375 of Jack Barrel Proof.
Another one.
Yep. Why not?
Damn,
We're
bro.
just going to be doing it all the
Wow,
time.
that's great.
Maybe Matt will contribute at some point.
Nope.
That's why I thought his middle name was Malachi.
No,
Yeah.
that's my dad's side of the family. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so hey, if you guys like what you're hearing and watching, definitely hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. 5-star reviews are huge. Share with your friends. And yeah, we greatly appreciate you all. So, Troy, lead us out, please.
Yodel?
Lay.
He
Who?
motherfucker.
Woo!